Welcome into Kitchen Talk Pickleball Edition. I'm your host, Caitlin Miller, and this week joining us is Stephen Gritch. He's the co-founder of Apex Pickleball, which is an outdoor pickleball facility in Murfreesboro, recently opened. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you've been, in the pickleball world since 2013, which is definitely more time than most. And then you recently opened this pickleball facility. So tell me a little bit about, how you got involved in doing that.
Yeah, so, like you said, I started playing back in 2013. Um, I remember distinctly that there was only a couple other people within 20 years or so of my age at the time. I had just graduated college and come back and actually went to the gym to play basketball, and they had changed the times on me. And there was pickleball and the enticing sound that we've all grown to love of uh, it got me in the gym. I played a few times and I was hooked. And fast forward 11 years later, I have the opportunity to redo some of these existing courts in Murfreesboro and open up a facility. That I really the first in Middle Tennessee. And what I see for it is more of a locally owned or locally owned company, as opposed to one of these larger organizations all around the country.
Well, and it's cool too because, like you said, we don't really have designated pickleball facilities yet in Middle Tennessee. So, also the fact that you were able to, basically be the first too. That I don't know, how were you able to maneuver that so quickly?
I think, well, you're very right. For as long as I've been playing, we, as in the pickleball players, have been asking for more courts, and slowly but surely we got some permanent courts here and there. I think the main thing for us in getting Apex up and running so quickly was that you know it is outdoor, which can be a somewhat of a downer in the colder Tennessee months, but there was the existing infrastructure. So we really just needed to resurface what was already there. We added some extensions on the side to be able to give our players a really good experience on the court. And then, all of the partners that we worked with were able to really collaborate and work together to get this done. And going back to kind of, we wanted to be a locally owned and operated. We went with all local businesses in order to get this thing up and running so quickly. So I think we were able to dodge and avoid some of the politics, if you will, of the bigger companies.
Yeah, definitely. And seeing it all, come to life. I mean, what has that been like?
It's been a wild ride, from the first diagram I kind of put together as to what it could be. We had a couple iterations, and what we really wanted to focus on at Apex was the player experience and how our members felt like they were being treated. So one of the big things that we wanted to make sure that our members felt like was that we weren't just cramming a bunch of courts into an area. So
Yeah.
the space that we have now, we had the space to accommodate 14 courts, but we felt that it was more important to give our players and members the experience of having individually fenced courts to where they're not running into other courts, balls aren't flying everywhere. So we decided to go with 11 and have a dedicated championship court that'll be used for live streaming whenever we have tournaments at our venue.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that. I know, because that's the worst when you show up to a facility and you can't even like do an ATP or like, yeah, like you said, the balls are flying everywhere. Everyone's like stopping their matches and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And so I know you guys just had your grand opening, I believe in October. But how long was the process? Like when you kind of first found the property and had the idea, how long did it take?
So I was put in touch with the owner of the property at the beginning of May. And when I met with him, I actually met with him to run pickleball events at his facility. It turns out he hadn't actually started the construction yet, and what he told me was that he wanted to build a facility, but he didn't really want to run it. And this was someone that had started to play pickleball, but really didn't know a lot of the details. So, you know, if May was when I first got in contact, I think we started signing contracts end of July,
Okay.
and I
Wow.
don't think construction actually started until August, maybe beginning of September. So, all from the actual construction, I would say it was about 2 months. There was a couple hurricanes that threw some weather up our way, which definitely slowed things down. But all of the companies we used, they did a fantastic job really being able to push this project and get it moving because, like you said, we really wanted to be the first ones open to be able to kind of show the community, the facility and all of the small details that we tried to think about in terms of building.
That's a really quick turnaround, though. Good for you guys. I feel like that is the fastest I've seen, at least in this area. So,
Yeah.
and it's amazing too that you were able to work with all local companies too. I
Yeah.
feel like that's super unique and special.
Exactly right. A company that you're pretty familiar with, Court Kings. They were, good friends, and we were able to collaborate with them and really, work on getting the product out there as quickly as possible because I know, we were I think their largest facility to date. I know they have bigger ones coming up, but I think it was awesome for both of us to be able to work together to make this thing happen.
Yeah, I love that. And then just seeing everyone, come out for the grand openings and seeing people actually using the courts. Has that been a really cool experience?
Oh, it's been great. It's kind of the months of sitting there having phone calls. Most of my lunches, uh, during this construction phase were me on with different companies trying to figure out our website and our scheduling software, making sure that the fencing people were communicating with the court people and that everyone was kind of aligned. So to be able to have people out there, the courts full, people playing on it was really just a incredible experience because it was all of these months of hard work kind of paying off. And I think we ended up having a little over 300 people through the facility that weekend. So we're very very grateful to have everyone show up, and we just hope that we can continue to grow with this community, and kind of work together and have a really good relationship with them.
And, trying to get members to join and stuff, like what has that process been like? Has it been easier or harder than you thought?
you know it's been a little bit more difficult than we thought. I think one of the main things is that we did open an outdoor facility in October,
Yeah.
and kind of like I'd mentioned before, is you know Tennessee is not one of these states that we get sunshine year round, unfortunately. Now that being said, I love the Tennessee seasons. I don't know how I would do with just 12 months of one season, but um, you know, with that being in mind, we kind of wanted to set up all of our memberships to kind of accommodate that. So our monthly memberships, we offer a free 60-day hold for each and every member once a year. And for that we want to show our members, hey, we understand it's cold. We understand you might not be able to play. Out of the 3 winter months, you might not be able to play that much. We don't want our members to think we're just there taking their money. We want to show them that we are pickleball players as well. We understand that they don't get to use it as much. So if they want to pause it, it's completely free. You can suspend your membership for 60 days. And at the end of that 60 days, we'll start it back up. And then the same thing for our yearly memberships. So if you end up paying for the year in advance, you get the equivalent of 2 free months. So any of our monthly memberships, if you multiply them by 10, that's what the annual membership is. It's, super straightforward. But again, we realize that our members, because it's an outdoor facility, aren't going to be able to use this year round. And we want to
Right.
show them, hey, we understand we're not trying to just take your money. So that's why, a lot of places will offer 1 free month if you pay annually. Well, we want to offer 2 free months because we understand we're outdoors. All that being said, we do have plans to build indoor courts on that same location. So we just want to kind of get the outdoor courts up and running, and then let the community know, like, hey, we understand indoor courts are great. you know it, nothing in life is free. So
Yeah.
if we just need to do what's economically cost effective and what's best for both us and the community, because we could spend a whole lot of money building it, but that means we have to charge our community a lot of money. It doesn't really make sense. So we want to
Right.
be able to do things on a cost efficient basis for us, so that we can pass on the value to our members, and so they don't feel like they're being taken advantage of.
Yeah, and one of the things too that you've done for years, I think since 2017, is, hosting and running pickleball events and tournaments and things like that. So, in addition to being a member, like having the opportunity to be a member, though, I'm sure you're going to run a bunch of events too from the facility.
Most definitely. So, my good friend Nicole Hobson, who used to live here, ran tournaments, and I kind of learned from her. And then so back in 2017, I started running tournaments on my own, and I've been running tournaments ever since. There was a short time I worked for the pickleball tournaments on their pro team, running some of their tournaments. But that's definitely one of the big things that we want to focus on at Apex is hosting these tournaments. Being able to host bigger MLP events, big leagues, different things like that, because it all kind of goes back to the planning, where we want to be able to one day, hopefully, host a professional tour here in Nashville. And one of the main things that we would need infrastructure wise is our courts that can accommodate the pro level of play. And so, with us, we have 10-foot baselines on all of the courts now. Center court has 15 feet. And then the sidelines range anywhere from 10 feet to just under 8. So, that was one of the reasons we didn't want to cram another court in there, was because, if we did that, we don't think that we would be able to accommodate and give the type of product these larger tours needed. So we kind of took that into consideration when we did this. But we already have 3 or 4 different tournaments lined up for 2025, and our hope is to be able to have local tournaments, some bigger tournaments, but really a diverse offering of events for all of the people that join.
Awesome. And for these events too, like, is it a semi-private situation where people who aren't members can participate, or will it just be for members?
No, that's a great question. So our tournaments are going to be open to everyone. So anyone and everyone can join. A lot of the tournaments that I do are for nonprofits. One is for a veterans organization. One is for a humane society. So the last thing I would want to do is restrict these organizations from being able to raise money by saying you have to be a member. Now, with that being said, if you are a member, you do get a discount on the tournament. So you get priority, registration, and you would get a discount. So going back to kind of the value we want all of our members to see is that, if you are a member, you're not just getting a court, you're getting discounts off lessons, clinics, leagues, social events. We partnered with Yola to bring our members the very best, from nets to equipment to apparel, all of that stuff. Our members get discounted because they're a member. So we want all of our members to see, like, you know, yes, you're paying this monthly amount. It might be more than, your local rec center, but the value there is so much more just because you get so many things with it.
Yeah. Yeah, which is awesome. And just the sense of like community and having that consistent community too. Because I feel like
Exactly.
once you join a place, like, I have in the past, and you find the people you play with, and then that's the same spot you go to with the same
Yeah,
people. And so that's like the biggest benefit I feel like to joining a club near you is just getting that like routine play in as well.
exactly right. And we, we really want to foster a sense of community at Apex. And, you know, to our kind of our motto in what we want is, we want the facility to really entice your more advanced players, because, they're the ones, like you said, they're the ones that are going to hit the ATP. They're going to have bigger serves, bigger returns. They're, typically they've been playing a little bit longer. So we want the facility to really speak to the advanced players, but we want all of the programming to really speak to those beginners and intermediates. And we want them to know that Apex is a place that we want you to come as a beginner, and then we want to help you grow in your pickleball journey, if you will, and get better, improve your skills. Which is why we have three teaching pros that cycle through the club every day. They're able to offer lessons. We want to be able to offer multiple clinics every week. And then we have the ability, because we're just pickleball and we don't have to share the courts with tennis or racquetball or soccer, any other sports. We want to be able to offer a variety of different leagues that are specific to age, skill, gender, whatever that may be. We want to have a really, really diverse catalog of programming that our members can partake in.
And you have, I mean, that experience. You've been a certified pickleball instructor for several years now. So, I mean, just having that, and I saw like Kendall's on board with you. He's been doing it for, several years as well. So, having those people with like your reputation and then bringing them in. Because I think that's the biggest thing is like, oh, people, not even just to join a facility, but to show up to open play. Like when I used to teach, people were just so terrified. And that's why they would come to me to learn. And then they're like, do you think I'm ready for open play? But so that's why it's nice to offer those intro lessons so people can, gain that confidence and then want to join a community like yours.
100%. And I think, there's definitely there's ebbs and flows of times where, I'll meet a new group of people, just like you said, they're terrified to go to open play because
Yeah.
they're worried someone might, be mean to them or hit them or something like that. And with the ball, that is. And, that's, I just like you said, it's like I want to help them kind of get over that fear. I want to help them get the tools and the knowledge that they need, to be able to do that, which is why, all of our instructors are either IPTPA certified or PPR certified. And then, Kendall is a phenomenal person for this job. He's got so much excitement, so much energy. He has a lot of really good ideas. And I think allowing him to be able to bring all of his creativity to this facility is only going to add value because, he's done this before and he knows what members are looking for in terms of programming. And so, really allowing him to be able to, you know, program all of these different events, these different leagues, um, for our members, I think it's just going to be invaluable.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just crazy because you come from a biomedical engineering background, right?
I
And now
do.
you're in pickleball. Are you still working in biomedical engineering as well?
And that is this lovely tan office I am in right now. So, I have a lot of the questions I get. I was like, "Oh, is this what you're doing full time?" As much as I would love to be like, "Yeah, it is." It is not. It is not yet. But I'm still in biomedical engineering. I work mainly on infusion pumps now. But I think a lot of the skills that I've gained from working on various types of medical equipment for the last 11 years or so has really given me some insight and you know some thoughts on the best way to run this facility. I hope I'm doing I'm doing well, and I hope our members see that all of the decisions we make are ultimately we want to do what's best for them, because without them, we'll close and someone will also open. You know, we're just a local a group of locals that finally decided to put our money where our mouth was and open a facility.
Yeah.
So
Which
it's
is great. And you guys are doing it. And I think that's the thing. Like a lot of people are trying, like that I've spoken with, would love to do pickleball full time in some capacity, whether it's the business side, working with paddles, apparel, whatever. But, most people have to work their full time job, do that as a side hustle until it could potentially become, a full time thing, which would be great. We would all love that.
yeah,
But, it is hard because it is still growing and you don't know, what the future is. Luckily, it seems like it's not just a fad. Like you would think something that kind of just blew up during COVID would have stopped by now, right? But I think because there is kind of that low barrier to entry, you can play at all ages, all abilities, everything like that, that it is here to stay, which is amazing. And it's a sport like tennis or golf that you can play the rest of your life. And it gives people like a sense of that like healthy community. I feel like people are always striving for that, especially since COVID when people were so isolated. So, yeah. And you guys were in it, in the beginning, which is great.
yeah. No, I mean, I think you're exactly right. This is by far the most social sport that there is, and I think that's part of the reason why it's really stayed around, is because, like you said, COVID kind of forced a lot of people to go inside, and so many people had a hankering and a need to be able to talk and interact, that pickleball is perfect. And like you said, it's a low barrier to entry. When I started, paddles, like an expensive paddle was $85. You
I
know,
know.
so back in my day, but now
Yeah. Now it's like over 300.
yeah, exactly right. So, you
Yikes.
know, that exact thing right there is like, we know everything's getting more expensive, but we want to be able to offer these premium products to our members, but give them a discount. And, we actually have we have more of an intermediate paddle program where they can get this paddle to start off if they're a beginner. I want to make sure that they like the sport before they really invest in the equipment,
Yeah,
right? So like if I
definitely.
if I was new to golf, I wouldn't want someone to sell me $2,000 worth of clubs if I hate it.
Yeah.
So one of the programs that we offer is, if you buy one of these intermediate paddles, and let's say you really love it and you want to up your game and get another paddle, we allow our members to bring that paddle back in, and we credit that towards a high end paddle, so that
Oh,
they're
wow.
not out hundreds of dollars just trying to get find a paddle that fits them. And kind of like you said, it's really easy for open play to go around and say, okay, hey, I want to do this. Where golf, you have to make tee times, and there's a price every single time. With pickleball, there's really the option to, you pay once a month, and then you get to play whenever you want.
Right,
And
right.
so that's what we're trying to do, is we're going to offer open play every single day. So there will never be a time when you can't show up and play an open play, which I know a lot of people are worried about. You can reserve courts if you want, but there's always going to be a place for someone to come and play, at the drop of a hat.
Which is awesome. That's amazing. And just having this all like come to life and have it evolve, what has been the most rewarding part of this whole journey for you?
Um, so kind of a weird thing is, I've never really been a boss before. So really in this throughout this process, I did a lot of interviews, and um, some of the people we've hired, this is their first job. So really being able to offer these kids, a lot of them are high schoolers, a first job, has really just been fantastic. I don't know why, but it feels super rewarding. Like, hey, I want to give you your first opportunity at a job.
Yeah. Oh, I love
So,
that.
so there's, the job market can be hard. And, I remember when I first came out of college, a lot of these jobs like, oh, well, you have to have experience to get the job. Well, someone has to be the first one to give these kids experience. So for me, the chance to be able to give them that experience, and hopefully that helps them, and hopefully they remember this as a really fun first job. That's probably been one of the most rewarding things, outside of actually seeing people play on these courts. So.
Yeah, no, I love that. And for those that want to join or even just check out your facility, how do they do that?
Yeah, so we are on Facebook, Instagram, and we have a website, Apex Pickleball TN in Tennessee, as in Tennessee.com. So right now we're having, kind of winter deals. So all of our monthly memberships are currently 50% off. So all of those. And then if you pay for an annual membership, so kind of like I was saying before, you get 2 free months. Well, if you pay for an annual membership now, you wouldn't actually pay again until January of 2026. So you would get the equivalent of 3.5 months if you were to join today. If you just joined in December, then you'd get 3 months. We're just trying to show our members that we understand we're going into the cold months, but we're trying to give them a place where they can play, and you know a place that might not be crowded. They might not have to wait, 5 games to get in, and they know, the facility is going to be good. Everything's individually fenced, so that's kind of what we're going for now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I can't wait to check it out too. I especially want to see that championship court. That's
Yeah,
always a lot of
check it out.
fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank
Anytime.
you so much, Gritch, for coming on, and stay tuned to see who will join us in the kitchen next time.